In January 2025, Phil Ruffin announced he's selling Circus Circus for $5 billion. He bought it in 2019 for $825 million. That's a 505% markup in 6 years. On a property he admits he's barely touched. For a casino that looks exactly like it did in 1968. Here's the problem: nobody's buying. Despite the prime location, despite 102 acres on the Strip, despite Ruffin's insistence, it's the best piece of land on the West Coast. Because everyone knows the truth. Circus Circus isn't worth $5 billion. It might not even be worth $1 billion as an operating casino. This is why Circus Circus is the Strip's most embarrassing property, and why Phil Ruffin can't find a buyer. Let's be clear, Phil Ruffin didn't buy Circus Circus because he loved the casino. He bought it for the land. "Why do you think I bought Circus Circus?" Ruffin told Forbes. "For the 102 acres, that's the land play." Ruffin acquired the property from MGM Resorts in 2019 for $825 million. He immediately started planning to flip it, just like he did with the Frontier. In 1998, Ruffin bought the Frontier for $165 million, made virtually no improvements, and sold it 9 years later for $1.2 billion, a 700% profit. The strategy was simple: buy cheap land on the Strip, hold it while the surrounding area develops, then sell for massive profit. "It's worth $5 billion, Ruffin told Forbes. "It's the best piece of land on the West Coast. It's got the highway, it's got the Sahara, it's got 2,000 feet on the Strip, and it's the last Strip property. And 102 acres is just a massive amount of land. You can almost build a city on it." He's not wrong about the location. 102 acres on the Strip is incredibly valuable. But there's a massive problem with his $5 billion valuation. Nobody wants to pay $5 billion for a property that would immediately need hundreds of millions more in demolition and construction costs. Circus Circus opened without a hotel on October 18, 1968. It's been adding pieces since then, creating a hodgepodge of mismatched towers and dated design. Walk through Circus Circus today and you're instantly transported to 1970s Vegas. Low ceilings, cramped spaces, pink carpet everywhere. Circus performers overhead while you gamble. A walk through the casino is a reminder of older times when ceilings were low and space was tighter. It's not charming vintage, it's just old. Reviews from 2025 paint a grim picture. Guests staying in the West Tower in November 2025 reported, "The bathroom floor had hair and dirt when we checked in, proving it hadn't been cleaned." Another guest found black hair on the other bed, stains on the ceiling, and dirt on the desk. Another reviewer reported finding used toilet paper in his toilet on check-in. Multiple guests mentioned elevators were dirty. These aren't isolated incidents. The property is showing serious maintenance issues across all towers. On March 15, 2025, reports of a shooting at Circus Circus caused mass panic. Guests ran in terror. Police evacuated the Adventure Dome. It turned out to be unfounded, just a fight that caused people to flee. But the panic was real, and it highlighted something important. Circus Circus has a reputation problem. The property attracts families and budget travelers, but it also attracts incidents that create safety concerns. Ruffin told Forbes, "We do well. We sell $2 beer, $2 hot dogs, $2 popcorn. People love it. A guy can eat and drink for $6. That's his pitch. Ultra-budget pricing. A family can have fun for cheap. But that's also why nobody wants to buy it for $5 billion. You can't run a luxury resort when your entire brand is $2 hot dogs." Industry analysts are skeptical of Ruffin's $5 billion ask. One commenter on casino.org noted, "Should the land include the LV Fairgrounds, I estimate it at around $1.5 billion. He bought it all for less than $1 billion in 2019 and now claims it went up in value by 400%? Ridiculous." The critic continued, When one goes by the revenue of Circus Circus and even build an adjacent property on the fairgrounds, the revenue doesn't add up. Prime property does not mean it could sell for far more than it's worth. The math doesn't work. Even if you demolished Circus Circus and built something new, you'd need years to recoup a $5 billion purchase price plus construction costs. Every luxury property on the North Strip struggles. The Fontainebleau sat abandoned for 13 years. The Strat can't attract high rollers. Even brand new Fontainebleau, now reopened, is having trouble filling rooms. Why? Because tourists don't walk that far north. There's no foot traffic. You're isolated from the core strip. Circus Circus is in the worst possible location for a $5 billion luxury development. If someone buys Circus Circus, they're not keeping the casino. They're demolishing it and building from scratch. Circus Circus has 3,667 hotel rooms across multiple towers. Demolition alone would cost hundreds of millions. Environmental remediation, asbestos removal. The property is 57 years old. Then you need to spend billions building whatever comes next. The total project cost could easily hit $8 to $10 billion. At that price point, you could build a mega resort somewhere else with better location and newer infrastructure. The premature but viral rumor of Circus Circus's sale in 2024 reportedly cost Ruffin an $8 million deal for Live Nation to exclusively present 2025 events at the Las Vegas Festival grounds, according to Vital Vegas. Buyers know he's desperate to sell. That kills his negotiating power. Why pay $5 billion when you can wait and get it for $3 billion when he gets more desperate? Neighboring resorts. World Las Vegas has been mentioned as a potential buyer, as the site could be developed to host an NBA arena. That actually makes sense. Resorts World could expand onto the Circus Circus land, build an arena, and create a North Strip entertainment district. Other potential uses mentioned include Formula One-related developments or a film studio. But here's the thing, all of those uses require demolishing Circus Circus. Nobody wants to operate it as is. Realistically, the land might be worth $2 to $3 billion to the right buyer, not $5 billion. For perspective, MGM sold it to Ruffin for $825 million in 2019. Strip land values have increased, but not 500% in 6 years. Ruffin's asking price assumes someone wants to pay top dollar for a property. They'll immediately have to spend billions more demolishing and rebuilding. Ruffin is 89 years old. He's worth $4.7 billion. He doesn't need the money urgently, so he can wait. List it at $5 billion. See if someone bites. Gradually lower the price over years if necessary. But every year he waits, Circus Circus gets older, more dated, harder to sell. Despite everything, Ruffin insists it performs well. "We do well," he told Forbes. Maybe he just keeps operating it. Collect cash flow, minimal investment. Let it coast along as a budget property until a buyer eventually emerges. That's probably the most likely outcome. Circus Circus stays exactly as it is. Outdated, embarrassing, but profitable enough until someone eventually buys the land for $2 to $3 billion to develop something new. Realistically, Circus Circus should be demolished and replaced with a modern, integrated resort. The location is good enough. The land is valuable. But at $5 billion, nobody's buying. Lower it to $2.5 to $3 billion, and you'd probably get interest from Resorts World, tribal gaming operators, or international developers. Until then, Circus Circus will remain what it is. The Strip's most embarrassing property that nobody wants to fix and nobody wants to buy. Phil Ruffin bought Circus Circus for $825 million in 2019. He's trying to sell it for $5 billion in 2025. Nobody's buying. Because everyone knows the property is dated, the location is challenging, and the asking price is absurd. The land is valuable, but not that valuable. Not when you factor in demolition costs, construction costs, and the North Strip curse. So Circus Circus will keep operating. serving $2 hot dogs, looking exactly like 1968, being the strip's biggest embarrassment, until Ruffin lowers his price, or someone gets desperate enough to overpay. Either way, this story isn't ending anytime soon.